Cool. We are here at the hot seat. All right, rules. There are no rules. Have fun. Be yourself. That's fair. Introduce yourself. So I'm Benny. I'm a gardener. That's my main passion. It's also like an art of mine as well. I consider it an art. Anything to do with the garden and plants, I've been trying to share as much as I can, even since I was pretty young. Over the last couple years, I've kind of gathered my own organization called Komorebi, which is a Japanese word for the light that filters through the leaves. And it's just a simple way of shining light on simple things, that often go overlooked. So that's a little bit about me. That's Benny in a simple form. I love music and art as well. I DJ, so a couple things about myself. Okay, the next question is, on a scale from 1 to 10, how authentic are you living right now, online and offline? I would say I would say I'm living pretty authentically the whole way around. Even like online, I've tried to separate like my platforms to be authentic in that way. So I have like my main account, which is Benny Double OG, which has really been like a small like documentation over the last couple of years. It's not everything, but it's a good insight. And then I also have Komorebi, which is my foundation for the community, for the people, which is very authentic as well. I hate to sugarcoat things, or I've tried to do, very direct videos explaining, but I'm always like, just let me talk, just let me kind of do my thing. So, and then the same with the music. When I DJ or I create music, it's to please my ears, and I try to keep it authentic that way. Even whenever, someone wants me to DJ a certain party, I'm like, look, you're still gonna get some authentic Benji no matter what. So I would say both online and offline, I try to be as authentic as possible. So I would say I'm pretty authentic on both sides. I'd like to think. So what is your mission? Why do you do what you do? Well, that's a good question. My mission is, I feel like as a gardener and through like just like my life, plants have always been very present in a form of medicine, and also too like a hobby, but also like a sanctuary. And I don't want to say like I have all types of gifts, but if God, the great creator, has given me any gifts, it has to do with plants. And for this question, what my mission is and why do I do what I do? My mission is to share what I've learned through the garden, and that's the lessons, not only like the plant medicine, but the lessons, the simple things, watching a seed sprout. That's that's why I do it. And my mission is to share it with other people. I want other people come to me all the time and say, hey, I don't quite have the green thumb, or I'm not really a plant grower. And my mission is to change their mind on that and say, you know what, we're all humans and we all have this gift of being able to tend to the land to create. I think it's the same thing with art and music. I think we all have these gifts. And my mission, being the gardener, is to show people, remind people that you have gifts in the garden through the art. So my mission is to shine light on simple things that people might not be recognized. That's my mission. It will be from now until forever. So that's my mission. Okay. You're creating spaces for other people to gather and grow. Why is community so important to you? Well, that's another great question. And why is community so important to me? Because I think through community, we heal. I think through community, we learn. I think there's all types of things you could do to to better your life. But if you don't have community and people around you, I feel like you will always be missing something. It took me a long time to realize that when I grew up in the neighborhood I grew up in, it wasn't so much community like it is now, now that I'm old enough to pick my own community. So community is important for a lot of reasons, for resources, for sense of mind, for safety. It's nice to have a neighbor you can knock on the door and ask something for. Community is very important to me. And yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons why community is important to me, but those are some of the main ones for sure. Yeah. Okay. How do you want people to feel in the spaces you create? First and foremost, I want them to feel safe, and then I want them to feel creative. And I hope that all the spaces I curate, even my home, my office, my headquarters, we try to overstimulate people with creativity to kind of give them a space for thought. And also, too, the type of spaces I'm trying to create are quiet, direct, strategic places, not just a bar or club. The places I create are almost sacred in a way. We're gonna light some Palo Santo, we're gonna burn an incense, we're gonna make sure the vibe is right for any space that I create. So, and then what are you doing when you feel most yourself? That's easy. I'm in the garden. Whenever I feel most myself, I'm definitely in the garden. It's the one place where I don't need a to-do list. All I need is some music, and you don't need. I don't need anyone. Don't necessarily need anyone's help. I have plants that are kind of telling me what they need, and it's always been a place for me to go whenever I'm bored or I need somewhere to go. So that's whenever I definitely feel my most self, or when I'm making music or listening to music. Definitely when I feel my most self. Yeah. What are you learning to love about yourself? That's a good question. What I'm learning to love is the process. I think a lot of times I can get very impatient. People have reminded me I don't have great patience, but the best part of learning is the process for me, so I've really been learning to love that part. And although I want X, Y, and Z right now, you're trying to make a deadline, you're trying to get to a place on time. Really, I've been learning to enjoy the process, whether it's turning up the radio a little bit whenever I'm running a little bit late, or whether it's looking at all the things I have to do, and realizing that I can't control some of this, but I have to sit back and just enjoy the process of it. And there's plenty to do in the meantime. I'm a simple person, so simply enjoying the process is what I've been learning to love about myself. You know. And then, how does it feel to be seen in this way? And any final thoughts? It feels good. Whenever people start to understand the process and see it and understand the vision, that's when it feels the most best. A lot of times I find myself over explaining things to people, trying to get them to see the vision, but really it feels best whenever, they're seeing the process and I have to do less with the words and just more with the actions. So, yeah. Any final thoughts? Thank you. And also, these questions are great. I love what you do. Um, I'm just grateful to be here. I'm thankful. Those are some of my final thoughts.